Welcome back, everybody. We're here today for a redo of my last video on cutting, wrapping dove's eyes. My sincere apologies for that last video. I have no idea what happened. Somehow it was turned around and I have no idea. So I'm here today to redo that and to sincerely apologize for any frustration and inconvenience, and also to apologize for having taken so long to redo this video. I've been having trouble with my left hand. At first I thought it was tendonitis. Probably it's an arthritic flare. It's all around the base of my thumb, and in here was not pleasant, so I've started wearing a brace, and that has helped a lot. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this today. In fact, it's gotten to the point now where I only do my cross stitch on scroll frames because I can't hold a hoop or a Q-snap for very long. So again, my apologies for taking so long, but I think I have it good enough now that we can get through this redo and see where we go from there. So all of that being said, what we need today is, of course, our piece. I've just redone enough to be able to show you what I need to show you today. We're going to need a good pair of sharp scissors. We're going to need a pair of tweezers, and hopefully you've watched the last video, so I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of explanation like I did before, but I'll show you, and hopefully I'm going to stay in camera and things aren't going to go fluky again. So we're going to try this the best we can. So you need tweezers. You may or may not want to use a hoop. I find for the wrapping that I prefer to do it in a hoop. It does keep my fabric straighter, and I'm able to get a more even full wrap on each bar. So that is optional, and that is up to you. And you're going to need your number 8 pearl cotton. Since we're working with 22 count Hardanger fabric, or at least that's what I have here, I need number 8 pearl cotton in order to wrap the bars. Your pearl cotton is usually a size smaller than what you've done your cloister blocks with. So here we go. Back to cutting. What I explained this before. What you want to do is, when you're cutting, you want to look at each block and think of 5 little babies' toes. Okay? And that has helped me avoid many cutting mistakes over the years. So where we're going to cut is along here, across here, down here. We're not going to cut on this side of the cloister block because, as you see, there's a tunnel there. There's no baby's toes there. So we do not want to cut on that side. And if we cut on this side, or we cut on this side, things are going to tend to fall apart. And after all the work we've done, we certainly don't want that to happen. So with that being said, and that little bit of review, let's show you how we cut. Okay? So some people prefer to cut one thread at a time, and you can certainly do that. However, imagine going around a whole big piece, cutting one thread at a time. It's going to take you forever to get around there. So what I do is I insert my blade in the first stitch at the bottom of the first stitch, and I count up 4 and come up at the bottom of the 5th stitch. So as you see, there are now 1, 2, 3, 4 threads on my scissors. I double check that again. If this is your first cut, double check it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Points up. Okay, we're all good. Take a deep breath and snip. You've done it. You have now just made cut number 1. Okay, alrighty. Now, if you remember, we don't want to cut this side just yet, because if we cut this side next, then to cut this side, it's going to get all floppy, and we really don't want that to happen. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to insert at the bottom of the last stitch, and we're going to come up in that corner, and as you see, we have 4 stitches, or 4 threads, I'm sorry, on our scissors. Count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. The more you do this, the more comfortable you get with it. Okay? So, 4, and we cut. So now, you've made cut number 2. Whoops, here we go. And you have this. Okay? See that? So, now you can see why we cut this side and this side before cutting the top, because this is not floppy. So we can just turn our piece a little bit. Okay, trying to make sure I stay within the camera here. And we're going to insert the scissors and insert and bring them up. Okay. And we're going to cut. All right, so now that's cut. Okay, that one's done. We don't want to cut here. Don't do that. We're going to move down to this one, and we're going to cut here the same way. Okay, 4, and cut. Turn your fat. Now, here's what I tend to do just to save myself from so much turning and yuxing around. I will go from this one down to this one. Oh, okay. And I'll cut here. And I'll even go to this one and cut here, because they're all on the same place to cut. Okay, then I'll turn my fabric, and I know I've cut here, so I'll go in here. Okay, I got 4, and I'll cut, and then I'll come down here. And as I said, the more you do this, the more comfortable you get. And you kind of eyeball and double check. See? There we go. Here we go. We're down to here to this peak again. So we're not going to cut here. We're going to cut on this side first. Okay. And then I am going to turn it and complete this cut here. Okay, so now we're a quarter of the way around. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to cut here. You will find little tricks to help this go a little faster for you. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Sorry, I gotta move out here a little bit so I can see better. There we go. Here. And I'm gonna cut here. And then I'm gonna turn it. And I'm gonna go back. See, you can see I cut there. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna cut here. And here. And it looks like I missed that last one in there, and you'll be able to see that because those I can pull away. This I can pull away, but I missed just a half of that one thread. So I'm just going to go back in there and snip it. Okay, so see? They're all cut. All right, now we're going to go here and do the same thing as we did. Okay, we already cut there. We're going to cut here. Going to turn it. Cut here. And we're going to go here. Okay, I'm going to just quick cut these, and you guys can do the same. Stop the video if you need to, and hopefully, yep. Here. And here. Okay, and then the last side, just a couple more cuts, and we're done. Okay, there you go. So we are now cut all the way around. We're back to where we started. Now, the next place you want to cut is here in the middle. Because if we don't, and we start pulling these threads, this is all going to come out. So we want to cut on this edge of each one of these. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing in the first one, out the fifth one, 4 threads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and cut. In the first one, out the fifth one, 4, and cut. Now, if you get these little ends sticking out, don't worry about that, because when you wash this, they're going to, it's 100% cotton, so it's going to shrink a little bit, and those are going to pull right up in under the blocks, so no need to worry about that. Unless, of course, you've cut way, way far away, and then, yeah, then they might not so much, but it will be fine. Okay, so everything is cut. Done with the scissors for now. Next, is to pull our threads. Okay, so you're going to find it best to use a tweezers. You can pull without a tweezers, but as I said before, it's going to take your nail. It's a lot of pulling, and believe me, I've pulled pieces that had a lot of threads to pull until you're done. From your nail going into your finger, you get sore from that. So we're just going to use our tweezers and pull these guys that we've cut out. Okay, so we know these are loose. And this is why it is so important that your cloister blocks line up. Because if these didn't line up, say one of these was a thread off, and you pull your 4 threads out, again, you're going to have to do some repair work somehow, because it's not going to stay together the way it should. So this is an easy craft, but it is, as I said before, a very precise craft. There is no room to fudge anything. You can't, or it's just not going to work. And I even go down in here, like I can do this to pull my threads out. Okay. So you get them where you can get a hold of them the best. Sometimes I will even, if I'm just starting and I can't quite get anything going, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll even use my needle like this to get things started. And I used to pull it this way, where I'd use my needle and then I could use my finger. So if you don't have a tweezers, that's another option for you to do it like this. So there's, again, all kinds of ways. You just find what works for you. And another word of advice, before you start pulling, make sure you're cut here and cut at the other end. I've had it happen, I will admit. I cut here and on the other side forgot or missed cutting. And of course, once you get into pulling, you get really not thinking about it and just pulling stuff. And I'd always use my finger like this to pull, and I'm pulling, and the next thing I know, out here things are starting to bunch up. And I went, oh my God, here I didn't cut at this end, so I was actually pulling this whole thread the whole way across out. Fortunately, I caught it in time that I could kind of pull it back where it needed to be and avoid a disaster. However, that can be repaired. If that ever happens to you, that it can be repaired. So don't fret too terribly much that, oh my God, I ruined my piece. I have all this work done, and what am I going to do now? I cut a wrong thread, it pulled all the way out. There are ways to repair mistakes. There's a really good book out by Carol Penderson, and if you check, I think it might be available on Amazon. You could also check with Nordic Needle. I just read a post from them the other day that they are going to still be selling books. They will be downloadable, so you won't get a hard copy, but you will be able to get downloadable books. So that would be another place to check. But this is by Carol Penderson, and it's called Hardanger Tips and Tricks. And it shows you how to repair miscuts or in fact, I have one I need to repair. It's been sitting in a drawer for years, not repaired, but where my buttonhole stitches, not thinking one day, was dusting, and I picked it up, and you know how sometimes you shake things? Yeah, I did that, and I pulled a couple stitches out of the buttonhole edge, so it needs to be fixed. And it can be fixed. I just haven't taken the time to do so. So that is a good book that I can suggest to you for, it has some instructions in it. It has how to repair things in it. It's just a small, here we go. It's just a small bound book. It's pink. That is a nice little supplement to have. Another good book is by Julie Norton of J Designs. It's called Take the Hard Out of Hardanger. So for people that can't get a hold of Janice Love's books that I had mentioned before, that's one that I found to be a nice little book to have as a reference. And I believe there's another one, and I honestly at the moment forget the author's name, but I think it's called Elegant Stitch. And I do believe you can find all of these on Amazon. Just to give you some references. It's a shame that Janice's books are out of print and no longer available. If you can ever find one, go for it and get it. Somebody did say they found one on Amazon. It was quite pricey, as I recollect. I think when I got mine, I paid around $20 for them, and I'm remembering that this gal said it was around $40. So if you can find one, fabulous. If not, check around. There's some other really good books out there on Hardanger embroidery. So now that we've got all those threads pulled, we're ready to do some weaving and wrapping. Weaving and dove's eyes. I'm so sorry. I just did a little bit of buttonhole stitch here so that I can show you how to cut it out. That we will do only after the piece is completely finished. So with that, and because I like to do my wrapping in a hoop, I'm going to put my hoop on. Boy, I didn't leave myself much fabric up here, did I? However, let me make it work. Okay, so we're going to put that hoop on. We want it loose anyway, so it's not that big a deal. And as I said, you're going to use your number 8 pearl cotton. Now, one little trick, or one thing to know about even pearl cotton or any thread, is thread has a grain. And you can, you can feel the difference. I usually put it at my upper lip to be able to feel the difference. But my best advice is thread your needle with the end that comes off the ball. Okay. Then decide your length. And cut it. Okay. That way you know you're going to be working with the grain as opposed to against it, and your thread isn't going to fluff up on you and get all yucky. Whoops. I was doing so good not hitting that. So what we're going to do is start our thread just like we have in the past. So we're going to lock it in. Just like we did when we were doing cluster blocks. Okay. I'm going to lock it on this one. Okay. And I'm going to put it through that outside hole. All right. So that I'm coming up here. Now, again, just to refresh, I like to wrap my bars from right to left. And what we're going to do is just figure 8 all around them. And I usually try and count how many times I've done it. So that's 2. And you can pull pretty tight here. 3. Oops. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. Hate when it gets caught on that. Okay. And now the next stitch, we're going to come over to the next block. Okay. We're going to turn. And we're going to do the same thing. And this is one of those tasks that I always enjoyed doing, watching TV, because you could just sit and wrap bars and watch TV. You didn't really have to count anything, and it was a good evening pastime until my thumb started acting up. But at any rate, and you'll get to the point where maybe you don't really have to count so much anymore as to how many times you've gone around. You kind of get to see just by looking when your bars are full. You don't want to overfill them, because if you overfill them, then they won't lay flat. They get kind of squiggly, and they just don't look as nice as when they're just nice, evenly filled. You can pull these as tight as you wish. On my own personal preferences, I prefer them pulled tight. I think it looks nicer than if they're just done looser. I like them pulled. But again, that's a personal preference on how tight you want to make them. So, and as you see, we're just going to stair step down this side. And you just stair step your way along the side. I want to come back up the other way so that I can show you how we're going to do dove's eyes. So I really want to hopefully, okay, we're only at a half an hour, so we're pretty good yet. We want to get down and back, or at least back a couple, and then I'll show you how to dove's eyes, and I'll show you the path to finish stitching this guy. And when it's all done, you can use it for an ornament or just a practice piece. There's so many things, and everything. You can create your own designs. It's all based on geometrics. And you can make anything your own by the different filling stitches that you put in. You know, if you don't want dove's eyes in this, don't put them in. You know, just have your wrapped bars. There's different types of wraps that can be done. You can also do what they call Pecos, which are essentially French knots on the bars. You can do them just on one side of the bar. You can do them on both sides of the bar. You can do all kinds of filling stitches. There's just so much. You can take any design and make it yours. You know, some of the pieces I've done, I started out with a pattern or someone's pattern and maybe did the base stitching, all the cloister blocks. I've even changed some of that and changed it to suit me. You know, just like in cross stitch, what do we do? You know, what do? You don't like a color? Change it. There's no law out there, and there's no stitching police out there. You know, you do what makes you happy and what you want to do. Uh-oh. I caught something there that I shouldn't have caught. Sorry about that. We're going to take that one out. There. Okay. Here we go. Now, also, if you remember from the previous video that I did on this, you always want to make sure that when you're wrapping, or when you're doing cloister blocks, you have enough thread to finish the wrap I gotta move this the other way a little bit. The wrap or the block that you're on, you don't want to stop in the middle. That just it just doesn't look right if you do that. Okay, so we're going to do this side yet. So here, this is the length of thread that I have left. Okay, if you can see that. So I want to make sure I can do this one, and this one, because then I can end off in here and start a new thread to finish here, here, and here. Then I'm going to carry my thread behind this one and behind this one, and I'm going to go like this, 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 and this. Then I'll probably end off and come back over and complete this side in the same manner, just by zigzagging my way around. So let's get this bar stitched, and then we're going to be ready to do a dove's eye. Okay. And really, they are so easy. It's about the easiest filling stitch, at least for me. I find it to be the easiest one. To do. And just as a side note, because I always have my finger underneath here, in the beginnings, until you get used to this, you're going to find you're always stabbing against your finger before you come up. This finger's going to get a little sore at first. So I don't know if you want to protect it with something like quilters do or not. I've done it for so long that it doesn't bother me anymore. Now, dove's eye. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 bars wrapped, where this is the last bar that will complete this square. This is the time to put that dove's eye in. So we're going to wrap this bar halfway. One more time. Okay, that's about halfway. All right. Now, to make the dove's eye, you're going to take your thread. You're going to lay it across the middle. Okay, can you see that? Lay it across the middle. You're going to go to the bar to your right. And in the center of that bar, you're going to pierce through it. And you're going to bring your needle up in the center of the square and over that thread, your working thread that's laying across. And you're going to pull. So now, let me see if I can put something else behind it so you can see a little better. No, that's not much better. How about some white? Oh, that won't work either. Here. Okay. So you have it pulled like that. Now, you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to put it across the center. Okay. You're going to pierce this bottom bar and come up on top of your working thread. and not get it stuck on stuff underneath. There we go. And pull it. Now you don't want to pull it overly tight, but you want to pull it so that it lays comfortably, and rethread your needle when it unthreads. Okay. Okay. So now you have that. Okay. Gonna do the same thing again. Over the middle, down in the center of this bar, come up on top of your working thread and pull it through. So what you're doing is you're always twisting that working thread. Where'd that straight thing come from? Okay, you're always twisting your working thread. You see that how it has that twist in it? So what you need to do now is make the twist on this part of it. So you're going to go under that first one. Okay. There we go, that's better. And now you can continue wrapping your bar. Okay. That's all there is to a dove's eye. Easy peasy. Not hard at all. Okay, so then you would move to this bar, wrap this one, okay, I think I will have enough to maybe just, I don't know, I will probably have to change my thread before we do another dove's eye, but I want to do one more for you because I don't believe I will have enough thread to wrap this bar, do a dove's eye, and wrap this bar and this bar. I know I'm not gonna. So I'm going to wrap this one. Okay. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to end this one off. And sometimes it gets a little full back here. I'm going to start a new one. Now, there is another way to end threads, but that would be another lesson. But really what you do is take the thread that you're working with and lay it along the back. Before it gets too short, I would have thread another needle, laid my new thread between with the bar so that I wrapped it in, and then when I started stitching with the new thread, I take the old thread and lay it with the bar and wrap it in. So that can be done too, as another way of starting and ending threads, especially if you're in a place where it's a really long distance until you're going to get back to an edge. Oops, sorry about that. I was doing so good. I thought I had this in a place where I wasn't going to hit it. Okay. And let's just go back here and come back here. like I said, this is just a piece to show you guys. So, okay, let's do a dove's eye again. Okay, so we're going to wrap half the bar. Okay, there we got half wrapped. Now, we're going to come across, hold it straight across, pierce the bar to your right in the center, bring your needle up over the working thread and pull it through. You don't want to pull it too tight, just so it's comfortable. Again, across the center, pierce the bottom bar up over the working thread and pull it through. Across the center, pierce the center of the bar up over the working thread, pull it through, and then the last leg, you go underneath that first leg of the dove's eye that you made, pull it through, and continue wrapping. Okay? Continue wrapping the bar. And there you go. Work your way around to the rest of them. As I said, keep it in a stair-step fashion. So I would next do this bar, run my thread under these 2 cloister blocks, here, 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 run my thread under these 2, and then I would go here, 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 yeah. Mm, 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 mm. And that will get me back home. So we'll do that again. I would wrap here and here, run under this one and this one, come here and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Run under this one and this one, then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That will get you back to here. All your blocks would be filled. End it off, and remembering every time that you are wrapping the 4th bar of the square, you can put in another dove's eye. Or you could even just put them 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could put them here, 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be one of your sides, and you would just pierce in the middle of that cluster block and do the same thing as what we did for these. So there's many, as you see, there's many, many options. Now, okay, we're getting almost on 50 minutes here. Let's look at the last step, and that would be cutting your piece out. And cutting your piece out is really just as simple as when we were cutting in here. I'm just going to take my needle off here. I don't want to stab myself. All right. So all you're going to do is cut around your outside stitches. Okay. And you're going to cut into the corners as best you can. And sometimes you're going to get these little guys. All right. And what you do is I'm going to cut this here so I don't get one on the other side. And then I'm going to cut this little guy here. And then I'm going to turn it back around. And I'm going to cut around and cut into the corner. See, here I got them again. That's not unusual. Cut this little guy here. Okay, and you can cut that there. Okay, and then hold this out of your way. Cut around again. And you just keep going like that, working around your whole piece until you have it all cut out. Okay? So, that's our basics for how to do Hardanger embroidery. If you have a question, leave me a message below. I am going to, in the notes below, link my Dropbox that has the pattern and has all the other information that we went over in the first two videos. You should be able to just click on that link and then be able to download any of those pieces. So you really don't have to email me anymore. Just click on the link and you can get the information, and it will be down in the comments, not the comments, in the notes for this video. Certainly you can send me a message with questions. I will be happy to answer. You can leave your questions in the comments below. Again, I will be very, very happy to answer anything and help you however I can to finish a piece or start a new piece or get you through whatever it is that you're working on in Hardanger. I'm going to see how my hand holds up. It's not too bad after doing this today. And probably look at some other filling stitches like the Pecos, and there's all kinds of stitches that you can do to fill in. There's spider webs, there's woven spider webs, there's wrapped bars, there's divided wrapped bars, there's Greek crosses, there's all kinds of stuff. And like I said, there are some very, very good books out there also. Once you know these basics, it really isn't difficult to, get a book and learn from the book either. So, as I said, I will gladly help you with anything that I can. And please do accept my apologies for that terrible video that I did the first time. And hopefully, from what I can tell, this one has worked out much better, and you should be able to see everything that we're doing or that I have done. And just as a little added treat, I'm going to, at the end, put in a picture of a piece that I entered into Woodlawn, which is a needlework show that's held every year in Alexandria, Virginia. It's held at the Woodlawn Estate. It's a very, very prestigious show here on the East Coast. And to win anything there is really an honor to have gotten an award there. My Hardanger piece received a second place, and I am just totally thrilled. It is not a juried show, however, it is a judged show. So it is judged by certified judges from, I believe it's Embroiderers Guild of America, a Needle Pointers Guild. There's 3 judges, then they are all certified judges. So, as I said, to win there or to receive an award there is quite an honor. And you don't win anything, you just get a ribbon for your accomplishment. So, my Hardanger piece, which I will post a picture of, it was just a small, simple doily, took a second place. The first place one had a lot more variety of stitches in it, and that's why that one got first place. And I did get a first place for my counted cross stitch piece, which was Dew Bears by Long Dog Samplers. So I was really super thrilled with that one. So I'll put put pictures of them in the end of this video just to give you an idea. So I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I'm up to almost 2,000 subscribers, which just totally blows my mind. I just cannot believe it, and I thank each and every one of you for subscribing and putting up with my terrible video, and hopefully this one fixes all of that. And like I said, I do appreciate all of you and do enjoy making these. So with that, I'm going to bid you farewell. Hope that you have an awesome time stitching. Enjoy what you're stitching, and always find the joy in what you're doing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.